WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. Thank you for tuning to WVTC Radio Detroit and the Community Bell Show with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. Stay tuned for insightful information Detroiters will find valuable. Text a friend and tell them to watch with you for news you can use. And now, your host, Edna Bell.
Hello, hello, hello. It's Monday at 4 o'clock, so it must be the Community Bell Show. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely, lovely Monday afternoon. We're just glad to be here and glad you have chosen to be with us on this Monday at 4 o'clock. We're always pleased to have our viewers watch us, listen to us, and dial in to ask us questions. Thank you so much for being with us. We've got special guests this afternoon. You're always going to be interested in what my friend Dwight Harris has to say and all of the special guests he brings to us. And so we're glad to have Dwight and his guests with us this afternoon. But before that, two things. The first one is one more time. condolences to the family of my dear friend Reverend Dr. Joanne Watson, former city councilwoman, first woman to be the president of the Detroit branch NAACP, the largest branch NAACP in the nation. We attended her services, her celebration on this past Saturday, and it was indeed a celebration fit for a queen that she was, Queen Mother Joanne Watson. So we're just pleased to have been able to attend and be a part of that celebration. She deserved all of that plus some. So farewell to you, Joanne Watson. I know you're up there giving directions right now to somebody on what to do and tell them, wake up Detroit. And now instead, wake up heaven, because here I am. We're just glad to have been a part of that. Secondly, just some announcements I want to give to you, and that is for those of you who have never been to Jazz on the River at Elizabeth Park. It's a Wayne County annual jazz festival that takes place in Trenton. It's August the 5th and the 6th. It's free. Parking, I think, is $5, but the entertainment is free. You check your calendars, go online and see what the lineup is. They always have wonderful, wonderful jazz musicians. Something wonderful for you to do, something different for you to do. I know a lot of you say, Trenton, where the heck is Trenton? Trenton is way down west. Way down western part of Wayne County, but it's a lovely place. The Elizabeth Park is a beautiful park, one of Wayne County's gorgeous parks. And for those of you who don't know, there are 12 Wayne County parks, 12 of them. And Elizabeth Park is a beautiful park. So check your calendars, check the lineup, go see the jazz lineup that will be at Elizabeth Park on August 5th and the 6th. You will indeed enjoy it. Now, to our guest. Dwight, are you there? Mr. Dwight Harris?
I'm here.
There you are. Hi, Dwight. How are you this afternoon?
How you doing? Happy afternoon.
Thank you.
It's raining a little bit out here, but
we're always glad
fine.
to have you. It's raining in Midland?
Yeah, it's raining
Well,
a
it's
little bit
beautiful.
in Midland.
It's beautiful and sunny down here in Detroit. So we're glad to be down here and not up there. How's that? We're
That's
glad to
fine.
have you.
Thank you.
What do you have for us today? You always have very special guests. So introduce your guest.
So today I have Virgil Smith, which is a good friend of mine and somebody I respect his politics and everything. So I'm glad to have him, and we have joined and we have been partnering for the last couple months now. Also have Oliver Gann, who's an activist in the community. I'm quite sure a lot of people know Oliver Gann for all the things he do with the media. And also I have Big 50, which is Godmother's Touch, which is a nonprofit. People know Big 50 as Big 50, but however, her touch is what made her who she is. So we're changing that image over to doing things in the community, which is her putting her touch on the community along with what we're doing. I'm Icon 10. I can overcome negativity. And what I've noticed, I do a lot of things, but I'm a consultant, really. All my experiences, all the people I know, and all the things that I've done over the years, I've learned to be able to organize, to get in the middle, intrinsically and integratively, bridging the gap between the community, as well as the county, the city, or those in authority, and also bringing some type of accountability to the community. For a long time, we just never take accountability for ourselves, and being from the community, being a returning citizen, which we don't use that word. We don't want to be dubbed returning citizens. We just want to be citizens that have returned to society.
Okay.
But however, returning to society after so many years, realizing that a lot of people that's come from prison don't understand the perspective when it comes to integrating and making a change in our community. So that's what I do as an activist, a leader, organizer in the community, and your brother.
All right. I
Everybody's
love it.
brother.
I love it. And just welcome to your guests. Welcome to Big 50, Virgil Smith, Oliver Gann. Virgil Smith, I've known him since before he was born. I went to college with his aunt. She and I rode it. A friend of ours had this neat little car that we all piled into going to Wayne State University. So I've known his aunt for many years.
And so I want to just let them on, and then I kind of give them a minute a piece, explain who they are, what they are, and then we can get into conversing about community violence intervention and some of the work that we be doing and helping people in the community and what makes that possible and why we do what we do.
Great. So you bring them on as you will. Would you like to have on first?
I would like to first bring on Oliver Gant.
Okay.
Oliver Gant is a activist, a community activist. I'm quite sure a lot of people say Oliver Gant. He's a creator. His organization is 1,000 strong. 1,000 strong, and Icon 10 has partnered for the last 3 months or so. And once we partner, we have been doing a lot of things in the community. So I want to introduce Oliver Gant. Give us a minute or so of who you are, what you do, and as we go, we have a topic. Introduce other people, have a topic, and continue to go. And we got an hour to do that.
Oliver, welcome to the Community Bell Show. I'm so glad you took the time to be with us this afternoon. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're glad to have you.
Thank you, and I'm glad to be a part of it. Can you all hear me?
We sure can. We can hear you and we can see you. So you're
all right. That's awesome. Well, I'm glad to be a part of your show. Thank you for inviting me. As the brother said, my name is Oliver Gant. I'm the founder of Thousands Strong. That's thousands with an S, strong. Thousand Strong is an educational deterrent organization designed to deter young men and women from the path of prison or early grave, by providing educational tools and things of that nature to them. I also consider myself as an activist spokesperson extraordinaire. Extraordinaire because of the list that I go through in order to get things accomplished whenever I'm called on to do anything for anybody in the community. I know we don't have a lot of time, but a lot of things about me, people can pull up. You can Google Oliver Gant activist or Oliver Gant spokesperson to see a lot of the work that I've done in the community. Partnering with the brother Dwight has been a great thing for me and for the both of us collectively, and I'm certain that you all will get a chance to hear a lot and see a lot about what we'll be doing together out there with We the City. So we'll let the brother speak to that.
That's great.
Anything you want to know.
Thank you for being with us. Now, how long has Thousand Strong been around?
I started Thousand Strong in 2014.
Okay.
2014. And some of the bigger cases that I've done, I'm quite sure you're familiar with Demond Grimes, a young man who was tased by the Michigan State trooper on the four-wheeler, 15-year-old.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the guy that was behind that case for 2 years with that family as activist extraordinaire. I did a lot of things with respect to getting that officer convicted for what he did to that young man. A lot of things that went on behind the scenes, even in the prosecutor's office. Also, the young man Theo Gray, who was murdered at his baby shower in St. Clair Shores, and they lied and said that he shot K9 Officer Axe. So I'm attached to that case for the rest of my life as well, because there's a lot of things that come out with respect to that case and videos that people hadn't seen with respect to how they gunned that young man down off what they thought was off camera and things of that nature. So other cases, and things of that nature. So I usually come out.
We're certainly glad that you're around. It's good to have people like you around. Thank you so much for what you do. Thank you. We appreciate that. Okay, Dwight.
I also like to introduce Big 50, which is Big 50 Godmother's Touch. Big 50 as a God organization is Godmother's Touch. I've partnered with her. Icon 10 has partnered with her because of what she do with her hands. Like that Godmother's Touch is the touch where anybody that know 50 know that whatever she done, she's always put her hands on it. And she made it come true. And she turned mud to gold. And so we respect 50. We love 50. 50 is the city. And me, 50, and Oliver Gant together have created a brand called We the City, because we feel like we can touch the whole city with what we do and all the work I do and all us together, and all those other organizations that's going to come up under this brand to represent We the City. But Big 50, you got some time. Godmother's Touch. Let's talk about God's Mother's Touch, and what that's all about. You got give us a minute or two of who you are and what you are.
Thank you so much for being with us, Big 50. I've never met you in person. My first time meeting you online, but I want to meet you in person so we can help you whatever it is we do. So a pleasure to meet you. Glad you're on. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Tell us about Big 50 Godmother's Touch.
Godmother's Touch, I came up with this in 2020. I'm a former incarcerated woman that, changed my life. And also, I help out with at-risk teams and incarcerated women and girls. I'm also part of the National Council that, does funding and different things for housing for women and girls, incarcerated women and girls. Godmother's Touch, um, anything to do with children, to help out with any of our children, our young youth. I'm there for them. I did a podcast a couple years ago at Bent Radio, and it was the Big 50 show, Keeping It 100 with Big 50, and I had some young ladies come on there. That was awesome. They were all raped by the same young man, and I got in touch with a couple of the people downtown in Wayne County to help me, get some to hold this man accountable for what he done to these young girls.
Absolutely.
So that's what Godmother's Touch is about. I'm all about helping the young, the youth, and women and girls.
It's ironic. I did not know you were going to be on the show. I just saw somebody last week, last Friday, who asked me if I knew of a place that could help women who had been incarcerated that needed some shelter, needed a place to live. And here you are. So we're going to talk offline, so that I can try to put you with the person who asked me about that. And I said, I don't really know, but let me find out. And here you are. God does things in a special way.
Yes.
Amen.
And thank you, Big 50. Big 50 is Godmother's Touch is something that I want the city to look forward to and use those resources that we have. The next is Virgil Smith. Virgil Smith is the brother. That's the brother. I respect the brother. We partnered some time ago during the baby winter, a little bit before, actually doing the proposal processing with the city CBI, and we've been working ever since, and I love it. And I want to introduce Brother Virgil Smith. Give us a minute or so, who you are and what you do and how we all came together.
Virgil,
can you hear me?
How about that?
Yes, how about that?
Well, now I want you to know this is one of my young men too. I'm so glad to have you on the show, Virgil. I'm so glad the two of you are working together. Welcome. Tell us about you.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. Yes, thank you for having me. Yes, Dwight and I met during the community crime intervention grant application process, and we said, we kind of like each other's styles, and we want to, even if we didn't get the grant, we wanted to hook up with each other and see how we can work with each other moving forward. So what led me, I've been involved in conflict resolution with a Ceasefire Youth Initiative with my friend Reggie Davis. And we've been working in these high schools, particularly with the young males, just talking about situations and how to resolve conflict, which I have some history in, and I try to bestow my history on, on things, red flags and things, how to resolve conflict in a positive fashion instead of letting it become negative, no matter what the conflict is. So that's been the gist of that mission with Ceasefire Youth Initiative, and that's what led me to meeting Dwight.
Yeah. And going forward, we're joining, we're coming together, and we've been doing good work in just a month or so, and we'll talk about that. I have one more person, which is Roy. Is he backstage too? Yep. I want to introduce Roy. So Roy is that was one of my. He come up in the neighborhood up under me. I think a lot of my behavior may have influenced him to be a certain way when we were kids. I'm a lot older than him a little bit. However, he is from the same neighborhood that I'm from, which is Ferry Park, 14th area. And he's an advocate from there, real strong advocate, did time in prison. And when it comes to what things that we need to do over there, we can always turn to him and get some stuff done. We talking about integrating it to the community and actually walking through the trenches. He's one of the whole bunch of people that I know, but I want to bring him to the table because I believe he have a real good perspective about community violence intervention. So what I want to talk.
I'm going to have Roy introduce himself. Hello, Roy. How are you? Welcome to the Community Bell Show.
Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? My name is Roy. I have another name, but my name is Roy as an adult. But other than what Dwight is telling me to come in and do, it, him and I have talked numerous times, and me coming home from prison talked to him. It was great to finally see him again as well. But the main thing it was the anti-violence things. You know, how does violence coming up to be the automatic factor and the automatic go-to, and how to get that out of people's minds to get real solutions and example in play and make that what's known again. I just know how I became a victim of it. I know how it created a cycle of me becoming violent, then violence passing violent, violent beget violent, and there's a lot of ways to stop it. And I believe we need to start tackling those issues, put those bars in a lock, label that, and start putting that to the public, because the public don't get this part of the world. They don't get this part of the mind. They're just with the programming. And it worries me. Like, I'm pretty sure it worries everybody, and that's why we're here.
Thank you so much for joining us, and thank you for sharing that. Thank you. Dwight?
Yes. And so I want to talk about community violence intervention. And then after that, and we have like a couple minutes each to kind of elaborate, and then we'll be able to respond like a minute or so. And so I want to talk about community violence intervention, and then I'm going to talk about some of the things we've done and what we're going to do going forward. We're talking about comprehensive strategies when we talk about intervention and violence in the community. And we're talking about department and community integration, where we're working for the good of the community. We're talking about new strategies. We're not just strategies that has been used before, that hasn't been used, that has been used and that have not worked, and to continue to put our community at risk. We're talking about community violence intervention resources should not be limited. We should not be limited to those resources, to organizations where we are picking one organization over the others, where we're in the area of reformation and inclusion. And if that's so, everybody should be accepted at the table when we speak about community violence intervention. We also talk about fostering trust and legitimacy in the community. And that should not be based on how loud you speak publicly or be seen on television every time something happens. We're talking about fostering trust.
I know but you're talking about fostering trust. How do you do that?
So fostering trust is, we have to empower people that actually know people in the community. We cannot have a fear when it comes to law enforcement. We talk about community violence intervention because it's a component of law enforcement, but it's a new component that has been injected into the when you're talking about being safe in the community. This is the first time, it's been like 12 years, a little more, that community violence intervention has been a part of enforcement. And so it's all about us learning together. And it's a intrinsic integrating factor when we have to empower people that live in these homes. There are people that live in the community that's not for the nonsense, that we can empower to actually put a hand on a lot of things we go on in the community. And I was just giving just a few things, and then I was going to let everybody go. But this was just a gift of community violence intervention. And so, and empowering true community leaders. When you say that, that's people that really has actually been doing this work for a consistent amount of time with sustainable credibility as well. And that and this work does not have anything to do with payment. I think this is the first time that payment have been included into the community sector. And so basically, when we talk about community violence intervention, we're talking about intervening, meaning that we're going to do something before the violence interacts. And so that means that where do we come in the community when everything is peaceful, and we end up, we administer some type of programming on potential at-risk youth that can potentially become violent tomorrow or the next minute. And so I just want to open the floor up where we can talk about that, and we can start in the same sequence that we ended with, coming back to with Virgil, 50, Gant, and then Roy.
Okay, Virgil.
My focus of late has been firearm safety education in our community. It is something that is not taught. It was not taught to me. I learned how to handle a firearm in all the wrong fashions possible that you can think of. And which somewhat led to my casual attitude and how I stored my firearms in my house, which is a huge problem in our community, is huge. And with the new laws that the Michigan legislature just passed on safe storage, it empowers prosecutors to prosecute you if you leave firearms out and a child uses that firearm and something tragic happens. So the education of that is something that is key to me. And it is something that has been lacking in our community. So in 2015, I've done some real research in this in this direction. The Obama administration actually put some dollars towards educating the community in this vein. Unfortunately, it was stopped under the Trump administration, but moving forward, I feel like this type of direction in our community is a direction that is much needed because it is not taught. It is like financial literacy is not taught. Firearm safety and storage is not taught. And that has been near and dear to my heart, and where I've been directing my work.
How would you start to teach it? Where would you start to teach it, and who would teach it?
And that's some of the problem. Our community just does not trust law enforcement. So, usually law enforcement is the teachers of this. So it's going to take nonprofit groups, and that's one of the reasons why I have joined with Dwight to teach this. And there are grant dollars available for groups to teach in this vein. So it's got to be I don't want to say anybody other than the Detroit Police Department, but it cannot come from the Detroit Police Department.
Okay.
50. Here's a couple minutes of your thoughts. Godmother's touch. Did 50 go off?
I think she went off. She's not.
Well, that's cool. Well, come on. All right, come on.
We've got Roy L.
Brother.
And we've got Oliver Gant.
Brother Oliver. Come on. Guys, give us your thought on this same topic we've been speaking about.
Mr. Gant?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can hear you.
Okay, I seen some stuff was muted. Okay, first, excuse me. So the question is, how do we foster trust in the community, right? My take on that, first of all, is genuineness. You got to be genuine in order to be able to go through the community, to appeal to the community, to be able to walk down any block in the community, whatever community it may be. Your energy has to resonate with the people in the community. And if you're from the streets or have any people skills, know anything about people in general, you know what I'm saying? Do you know how to relate to anybody? You can approach anybody. You can have a conversation with anybody. Everybody can do that if they're not genuine. That's one thing. That's one way, perhaps one of the best ways to foster trust. It's going to come from you and what's going to resonate from within your spirit with respect to anybody we're trying to approach, especially with so much that's going on out there. And I'm going to tell you, in light of all the violence and everything we've been saying on a daily basis, everybody can't walk out there and touch the community or engage with the community.
You're right.
I like what Virgil said about going off into the schools, and he spoke about conflict resolution. I am a life skills facilitator, okay? I was also incarcerated for 20 years. I was in a program called the National Lifers, where in prison, they couldn't do MPRI programs or reentry programs without going through the National Lifers. So I became one of the first facilitators throughout that program, which is very intricate and needed out here today. So I don't want to go on a tangent, but I think everything that we're speaking about is still falling into the same pot. I may mention one of the things that may help with the process in the community with this conflict resolution. There's a book called The Cufflink Formula, which was designed by another prisoner. And it's a young person's guide to decision making. This is something that I want to bring to the table for all of us as well. Maybe we can look at it. Maybe we can use this tool and implement it in a lot of these programs and things of that nature. I think that would be a good start as well. Um, I don't want to speak to anything else right now until the brother
That's
lay some
good.
things on the table.
Just kind of cover that. Also, so now we got Godmother's touch. Can you give us a couple minutes your thoughts on the community violence intervention and your perspective?
I don't know if this is my phone going in and out. Can you hear me? Because
We
it's
We
we
like,
can hear
got
you
you now.
good.
You were going in and out, but we've got you now.
oh, okay. I don't know what was going on. I kept going in and out. Well, the violence in the community. I don't want to just hit on. Everybody always say people, a woman always hit on things with women, but it's the truth. I was talking about the concert that had went down, a Time for Love festival concert this weekend. That was supposed to be for a Time for Love. Thinking, it's not a rap concert. It's just a regular concert with Monica and Ashanti. And the young man was out there beating his girlfriend right in front of the stage, and nobody act on it. Monica, the singer, has to jump off stage and act on it because nobody wanted to get involved. The men and women, nobody got involved. Her
Oh,
security, she got involved, and her security got involved, and she asked to throw the young man out. But I think the men should have been held accountable because they just threw
absolutely.
him. They just threw him out, and then throw. I mean, I this was my whole perspective on it. They threw him out, didn't get in contact with the police at all because she can go home that night and could have been killed.
That's right.
Because he figured she didn't go out with me. You should have came
Uh-huh.
out with me.
That's
And
right.
no woman that's doing a concert should have to jump in the audience and stop her show that people paid for.
Mm-hmm.
And then when she got back on stage, it was her time. Her time was up. So I just think we need to do more with these young men. I don't know if it was taught in the house or they saw their parents get beat, or if they just, this is something they doing. We need more mentors for young men, and for women too. I'm not just going to put it all on a man, but we need more mentors in the community. You know,
Thanks, 50.
You're absolutely
Um,
right.
Roy,
uh, building trust in the community, that has to be promoted. But it wouldn't be the building trust that you would think that you would have to hang with somebody every day and do whatever. It would be more in promoting and the avenues of exposure, quiet exposure. It could be posters posted up, but the logo, the sign is anti-violence. Even if they believe it in the area or not, through time it will kick in. Just like how Big 50 just said, rap and violence. She said it wasn't a rap concert, so it shouldn't have been any excuses for violence. So rap and violence is so associated. That's what I'm talking about. Just like you could recognize something like that, need to recognize what we're doing and what we're pushing forward individually and as a whole. The whole thing in conglomerate needs to be recognized as that. Just familiarity. We need to create familiarity. It's going to come through promotions. Promotions, not the ideals that I have is going to take up a lot of time. I'm not going to do that to everybody, but I will share everything that I do have. But I do believe it comes in with this promotion. You're going to have to give people a way to try to identify a different thought. Give them a different recognition somewhere. Let them see more than just what they are. We are oversaturated in layers and layers and layers of violence, straight up, subliminal violence. You know what should come next? Violence. It's oversaturated out here. So changing the face and the mind is something I did with my life. I started using my life as an example. Dealing with different groups and organizations with very, very sketchy history and past. I don't want to get into that because we need to reculturalize. Because the culture that we're coming from, the culture that was here, and I'm not trying to take up everybody's time, but we need to
no, you
reculturalize
go. You
everything.
go.
You keep on. Don't stop.
Okay.
Come on.
So, well, thank you, and I appreciate everyone. Thank you. I think it has to do with we have individual thoughts. It takes us a long way. This is a form of promotion what we're doing right here. Make this bigger, and I know that's the goal. We have to get bigger with this thing. Just as much as you see everybody got lawn in front of their house, you should see every so often one of our signs that says something in recognition. And I want it to please the eyes. It says peaceful to the eyes. So I want the subliminal in our posters, in our messages, our speakers, places we speak, things we set up. I have a very big vision. I've been carrying this vision for a while. I look at the world and all I want to do is save it. And I know I'm not working alone.
You're absolutely right. You're
So
absolutely
Roy, when I first came home years ago, he had addressed me because he knew the influence I had, which a lot of people don't know. But he was like, that influence you got, Dwight. Won't you step? So 12 years ago, I wasn't ready for nothing like that. I didn't even understand the calling years ago. But as I went on and I started jesting and start understanding more of what was going on after doing 25 years in prison, I referred back to Roy. Say, man, what I understand what you're saying now. And so what I did is I went back and so I could go to each in all the creches and the trenches in Detroit because I know them. And I could reach those voices just like Roy and a lot of us from the community. So I'm talking about people that actually, not nobody that I think I know, people that come up under me when I was in the streets. You know, I'm 55 years old and I've been in the streets most of my life until I changed in prison. And so I'm actually reformed. And so those guys look at me now. It's like knowing the way. How do I do that though? How do I actually change from the way that I've been since I've been a child? And so it's how we teach that. And like you talk about culture, I like Virgil Smith. Virgil been through some things with her, but he ain't have to do no 25 years in prison.
All right.
He's the sole example of what I wanted to be. He say he went through things, but we all go through things. But the reason I like, because Virgil is the example of us. The example that didn't go to prison though, could have, but did not go. And how do we get in there and fix those barriers or the gaps in services there for those that's underserved and those that's underserved? The floor is open, you know, minute.
And it starts at home. So with the children today, the parents, you know, it seems to me that the parents are scared of their children. You know, in my time, we got disciplined by the teachers and the neighbors down the street. You know, we couldn't say no down the street. We had to go to the store for them. The kids, the young men, the young women, they don't respect the elders. They don't open the doors anymore when older people are going in the stores. Sometimes, you know, the guy come and help you with your groceries. Now the women, we so scared. We tell them, no, we don't want no help. You know, we shouldn't be living in fear like this. But like again,
you're absolutely right. But it starts at home. And so one of the questions that we need to begin to answer is how do we help the parents help their children? Because we need to find a way to help these parents help the children. There are lots of parents out there who are not at home when the children are home, are not making sure the children are going to school, are not making sure the children are doing their homework and doing the kinds of things that are going to make those children successful. And so how do we get to those parents? Because that's what we've got to do. It's got to be 2 or 3 prong approach. We got to get to the parents. We got to get to the children. We got to help the schools. You know,
right. We need workshops for these parents. These parents need to, you know, come to a couple different workshops. Women have, and also with the children now, I don't like the virtual thing for school. You know, I watch my grandkids. You know, that virtual stuff is lazy.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Virtual should be for very specific situations. It should not be the norm.
Yeah, so
it should be very special situations for virtual. Anybody shouldn't be able to say, I want to go to virtual and be able to do it. You need to be in a classroom with a teacher there trying to teach you what's going on. And because it isn't just the teacher teaching you, it's learning how to act in a group of people, learning how to be around other people, and learning how to deal with other people and accept other people in your world, in your circle. So school isn't just about what's in the school book. It's about learning how to be around people. I know hasn't happened in many, many years, but we used to have auditorium when I was in school. And I think people thought auditorium was just for the kids to see a special program or to listen to the music. But auditorium was more than that. Auditorium was to learn how to act in a situation with a crowd of people. It was to learn how to listen and not interrupt. It was to learn how to be around people and be engaged, but not interrupt everybody around you and disrupt the situation. So auditorium taught a lot of stuff. It wasn't just to sit there and listen to the music program. And so we don't have those kinds of things in school anymore. And so we have to find ways to allow children to be in groups and understand how to be in groups. So if you're in a group and somebody accidentally bumps you, they didn't intentionally bump you. It was an accident. You don't have to pull out your gun or your knife or get ready to fight because somebody accidentally bumped you or stepped on your shoe or whatever that is. So we need to help the children understand how to engage with other people and not do it in a violent way.
And that's been the country's talk. Like, what do we do? And so it boils down to parenting. So that's why I always talk about this accountability. Like, as a community, we have to take accountability. A lot of times we lean on blaming somebody for the problem. It seems like for a long time we just been blaming because we lack, because we have mental health, because of the stigmas of the discrimination that comes from the stigma of being an alcoholic or a drug addict or going to prison or having mental health issues. It's the acceptability, it's inclusion. And that's why I talk about inclusionary diversity, because there's a lot of people in the community that's not accepted because of their lifestyles or their behaviors. But we're understanding that this is a stigma that a lot of people had been affected by, one way or the other, especially today. And to realize that certain people, you can have these problems in life, and you also could be functional as well. So now that we're understanding that you could be functional and have mental health issues, that means that people should care. And we should be more friendly as a society. And so in that, we becomes intrinsically involved with people, means that we feel what the next person feels. That is how you become a peer support specialist. When you become the person and you can feel the person and you understand where the person is and you can go there, as opposed to feeling that it's all about you at that time in that space. And if all of us in this country, across this world, if we would pay attention to people and be more friendly to mankind, and if we was interested that mankind would be friendly to us, this world would be a better place. But I do want to hear from Virgil, though, a little more, some thoughts that he was sharing going forth and what it is, I mean, we need to do. I do take Virgil tulips. I like that. I love that.
Well, what direction? What direction?
Hey, with the community violence, but the community, we doing things in the community as well. What is it that we need to do? Where do we start at, and where do we go kind of from here, and what we doing?
Well, I like everything that has been said. I've been agreeing, parents, but going back to conflict resolution, because as we applied for that grant, we put a lot of that into our grant, because especially dealing with these young people. Somebody said that the parents are scared of scared of the children.
Yes.
And which, and I can understand. Because I'm in these high schools. We've been in these high schools, and dealing with these high school males, you cannot be aggressive. I've learned that the hard way. You cannot come with an aggressive tone, because you're not going to out aggressive them. So it's that testosterone, males, whatever you want to look at it as. So I have to come with. So one thing that I had to change within myself is, I forget who said it, but I had to start talking with peaceful words. Because we talk with a lot of war words and things of that nature. So come with a peaceful spirit, and talk with peaceful words, and I could finally start, to get to them, because it's the little things. I mean, we so violent. I mean, violence beget violence, and I just dealt with a young guy who's now dealing with a first-degree murder charge and a home invasion, and I don't know if the other person passed away, and an assault with attempted murder charge, and I helped the guy out on a second-degree murder charge. We got it busted down to manslaughter. He goes in, he gets out, and now he's right back in.
Yeah.
So how do we stop that?
And so
where did he get the gun from? You know?
I want to with Roy, and so Roy, I want you to end, and then I want Ganty, and I'll just say a minute and 30 seconds. But Roy, for a minute and a half, give us what do you think? Right, coming from the streets, I love your problems. I know you know it. I know you talk to these guys. I know what you gonna tell me what they gonna listen to. Talk to us. Tell us what it is. Yeah.
What he was saying about my manager spoke last. What he was saying about guns, yes. Learning guns in your house, yes. I grew up just like that. At 10 years old, I had a gun rack above my bed with 3 rifles, a gauge, and a bow and arrow. We was taught that you have respect for it when you actually have it versus kids on the streets who don't have it, get an illegal gun and don't have the comfort to get comfort with and make a lot of mistakes. Not saying that I believe people should have guns, but I know how they hit the streets because I was a 14-year-old kid with pistols given to me and things and such and whatever. And so that is the stuff that we need to try to stop. And it ain't going to start there. It's got to be in choice because there were a lot of kids who you could try to give a gun to and they wouldn't give a gun. They wouldn't take it. So these are things that get promoted to us. We need to have things like, okay, so everybody can agree there are areas that are so clean in environments, to keep yourself together when you in that environment.
Exactly.
And everybody can relate to being somewhere where there's an environment of clean to where you're not going to speak loud in that environment automatically. It's going to be automatic on you. You're not going to want to cuss. You're not going to want to fuss, create a commotion or nothing. We all know environments like this. We have to create those environments here and do it without force, as if he was saying exactly what he was saying. You cannot approach these people in this generation with aggression. And you can't even approach nobody in no generation with aggression because I'm 45 years old. I can't take nobody's aggression. I apologize if I seem to be coming off aggressive. I don't even know how clear my mic is coming in. So I could be yelling. I apologize. But there's the rebellion. There's the rebellion. So we have to watch the way we set up boundaries or the way we teach boundaries or the way we teach guidelines, because a lot of times it gets marked off in red and that becomes a target of rebellion. Absolutely. To children who are given the law grace of you cannot chastise them like how we was chastised publicly and by strangers and neighbors.
They don't. So I'm not saying they don't. They just don't accept that way of chastising anymore. They don't.
That's right.
Live up to that. I hate to cut you off, Roy, but guess what?
We must move beyond brute force.
Our time is
must move beyond brute force. Yeah. I'm sorry.
I can't believe it. It went so fast. I had lots more. So we're going to have to do this again. That means we're just going to have to come together again and do this one more time because there's so much that needs to be said, so much more that needs to be done, so much more that we need to talk about and we need to get together to make happen to save our babies. That's the real bottom line. We've got to save our babies. That's what we have to do. So Roy, Mr. Gant, Big 50, Virgil, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
Hopefully you will agree to come back. There's going to be lots for us to talk about as the months and the years go on, because we've got a lot of work to do, but we can only do it if we do it together. Thank you so much, Dwight. Thanks again for having your guest on. Thanks to all of you for being here. We're going to call you back and we're going to have some more conversation about this because I don't think we can talk enough about it.
Right.
Talk more about it. Thanks again. We appreciate all of you being here. Community Bell Show has been favored with guests today that have good information, people who are really out there doing stuff. These people aren't just playing. They're out there doing it. They didn't just come on the scene yesterday. They've been doing it. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Next Monday, 4:00, the Community Bell Show. We'll see you then. Have a great week.
Thank you for listening to Community Bell with your host, former Wayne County Commissioner Edna Bell. This broadcast was brought to you by WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, our website, www.wvtcradio.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users. If you've enjoyed this broadcast, tell a friend to tune in. We'll see you next Monday at 4 p.m. Eastern to the Community Bell Show, right here on WVTC Radio Detroit.
The views and opinions expressed on the previous broadcast are those of the authors and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of WVTC Radio Detroit, its advertisers, or affiliates.
Here's just one of the fine programs right here on WVTC Detroit. Congratulations to WVTC Gospel Radio, as they are again the recipients of the 2023 Stellar Award for Best Internet Radio Station of the Year. Many thanks to our viewers. Keep watching as we are winning victories through Christ. Hey y'all, summer is coming. We want to remind you of the WVTC. Wash your hands. Stay updated on your vaccinations. If you got a temperature, get a COVID test and cover your cough. We're on a mission, so don't let COVID stop you.
WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit thanks the following supporters for their generous gifts of support to keep this station and these broadcasts coming your way. God bless you, we thank you, and we love you. This is WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit.
Here's just one of the fine programs right here on WVTC Detroit.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.